Hello there, everyone. This is episode 2 of my Dirty Laundry Diary. My name is AB, and I'm so happy you're here with me today. As we discussed, last week was my introductory episode, so my very first episode. There were some audio issues in that episode that I was made aware of. So hopefully that has been corrected, and that should not happen again. I apologize for that. With that being said, I hope you had a wonderful week, and let's get ready for this one upcoming. Today, I would like to discuss change. For me, growing up, I hated change. Anything switching, even like painting my room, getting rid of old clothes that no longer fit me. I hated change. And when I got into my early 20s, I didn't hate it so much as I was very reluctant to allow it to occur. Especially when I first went off to college, I had outgrown where I was. So I was really excited for that change. And really being a new person and whoever I wanted, all of those things that you can do in college. It was really exciting, actually, exhilarating almost. But then when I had to come home, I hated it. When I had to enroll in new classes, I hated it. Actually, I hated most of it. There were some classes I was very excited to be done with. Those classes are specifically microeconomics, and I took a film class that I did. So I actually did good in it, but I struggled the whole time. It was an analytic film class, and I army crawled through that. I like watching films, not analyzing them. At that point in my life. Now I don't mind it. But again, change. The reason this came up is this week I actually got breakfast with an old friend of mine who I have known since the first day of 7th grade. And she was in town, so we decided to get brekkie together before I went to work. And sitting across from her, looking at her beautiful face, eating breakfast, I was taken back to a time when in high school, we decided to find the best fish fry in our area. So we went to different restaurants to get different fish fries. And we used to go to this restaurant specifically. And a couple of years ago, when I first got out of the hospital and relocated to where I live now, and she came up to visit me, we went to this restaurant again. And then we hadn't seen each other for a little bit. I went down to visit her last year. This year she came up and we got breakfast there. And it was very nice to be able to have those milestones and those little memories at this one specific place, because it's not too far from where we grew up. But I couldn't help but think about how different I've been at each of those meetings. And it was weird for me. I don't know why I thought it was weird, but I just felt almost like abruptly aware that I'm here and I'm present and I'm sitting across from this person that I love and care dearly about, and it just kind of hit me how different I am. Life is very cyclical, and I can see that as I keep coming back to this restaurant with you. Yet each time I go through this cycle, I'm a different person when I see you again. And it made me think of a poem my outpatient therapist gave me. I have it hung up in my kitchen, actually, so I look at it as often as possible. And rough summarization of the poem is that every time you go down this road, there's this pit, and you fall into the pit. And the first time you fall, you have no idea what's going on. You're disoriented. You're down there. The second time you get out of this pit, or you go down this road, you fall into the pit, but you're not as scared. You know that this happens. It's okay. The third time you go down the road, you try to avoid the pit, but you know that it's there and you fall in it, and it's okay. And then it gets to the point where eventually you go down a completely different road. Now, she gave that to me in regards to the highs and lows of being bipolar and knowing you'll be okay if you hit a high or if you hit a low, and you will get out of it. And eventually you'll get to a point where you avoid the trigger that causes that. Or maybe you don't even fall into a pit around the same time of year you usually do. Especially around the holiday time, I tend to get in a pretty low period. This quote led me to another quote that I saw, which was a ship in the harbor is the safest the ship will be. But that's not what a ship is meant for. Our lives are very cyclical. We will go down similar paths or even the same path, or we'll go around the same circle to get to that same restaurant. But in high school, I didn't really fall down any holes. I thought everything was safe. And then when I went to college and in my early 20s, it felt like I was continuously falling into the pit, if you will. Just, it never ended. I was always falling. I thought I got out of it. Oop, there's another one right there. Actually, I fell back off the ladder and I'm down in that pit again, falling. But I still got to that restaurant. And then again, new cycle, restarting the old cycle, whatever you may call it. I'm doing that. And I'm excited because I avoided the pit this time. I've had some highs and lows, don't get me wrong. Bipolar doesn't stop occurring because I said so, although that would be great if it did. But I hadn't reached such an extreme like I had previously where I want to harm myself, or I'm very manic and I want to do something I've never done before, very unlike me, or even something small like getting this rush and I need to do something. I need to change my appearance. I need to dye my hair in the bathroom with some really cheap box dye that is going to fry my hair. Or I'm going to get a new piercing that I've never wanted before, but I decided today I do. And that's no shame to those things by any means. I still think about dyeing my hair all the time. I just haven't done it because I decided to grow my hair out long because I've never had long hair before. And that has turned into my natural hair being really long. And I'm okay with that right now. And I have many piercings. I have my industrial bar, I've got 2 in my nose, I have my conch, and all of the piercings I have aside from my industrial bar have been impulsive. Yeah, we're gonna go to a piercing shop, I might as well get one. But I also used to have my tongue pierced. And I hated that thing. And I had it for a year and a half, 2 years. And I kept it in because I'm so different from who I was. But I hated it. It hurt my teeth. It hurt my tongue. I was terrified all the time of swallowing it somehow. So I changed. I took the tongue ring out. I'm letting my hair grow. I'm not dyeing it. I'm not fake tanning anymore. I'm not bleaching my hair. I know I said dyeing it, but in high school, when I was on the cheer team, I used to fake tan and bleach my hair quite often. And I wouldn't tone the hair either, so it was just a fascinating time. I digress. I don't impulsively buy a cart full of items on the internet that I don't need. Very big one. That's a very big win. Very proud of myself for that one. There are many items in this apartment that I bought at one time thinking I would use them, and I don't use them. Or I didn't look hard enough into them, so it's not what I wanted, or I broke them. I'm also very good at breaking things. I've grown, and I've changed, and that's the whole point. You're supposed to live your life. You're supposed to do big things and make big changes and fall into a hole and climb back out and fall into another one and climb back out, and you don't like this cycle, so you start a new one and hope the other one stops, or hope it's not as bad as the other one, or maybe you get both going on at the same time and you're like, oh gosh, I need some help. So you call a buddy, and that buddy helps you. That's the whole point. You are a ship, and you are meant to be out in the ocean, going on a path, going around the globe, doing the thing. And you are never going to be able to do that thing if you stay in the harbor. So go out. Do something silly. Dye your hair. Learn that you hate to dye your hair and you never want to do it again, so you don't. But you tried it, and now you're changed. Get a tattoo, if you so desire. I have a couple, and I don't desire any more at the moment, so I will keep the couple that I have. Get that tattoo removed if you hate it. You learned. You changed. You still might look the same, or mentally not be very affected by it. But the whole point is that you are changed to some extent. And so many things occur in life just naturally that change us. Death, birth, graduating, turning another year older, adopting and then the loss of a pet, moving. All of these things change us. But if you stay stationary, you stay in the harbor, you are not only losing out on so many opportunities for change, but you are really letting yourself down. Similarly to the last episode where I talked about doing it scared, you just gotta do it. The time's gonna pass. You also have to know that when you do something, you are not gonna come out the other side the same. And that's the point. When we take a big promotion, we know our title changes, our pay changes. We go to a completely different company, that whole process changes. But also, we will not be the same. That new position might cause us to get less sleep and be more stressed. So that can affect diet, exercise, emotional moods, all of those things. Or we get this promotion and it's the best thing ever. And we have new coworkers that we love to see, and the pay helps us get out of credit card debt. And you get out to the other side significantly less stressed. There will always be change when you make a choice. Whether that change is positive or negative, out of our hands. Unfortunately. We can control how we interpret those changes and make them affect us. Really, we have no control over the consequences of that change. And I personally, did I get this from an episode of Dawson's Creek? Maybe, maybe not. Who are you? Who do you work for? Why are you asking me that? Anyways. Choices, there's no good and bad choice. There's just a choice that has consequences. And sometimes we like those consequences, sometimes we don't. The consistent thing from these choices is that we will be changed. Again, whether it's good or bad, out of our hands. And there's lots of things that fuel our choices. You want to move back home so you're closer to family. You morally feel the choices that you have to tell your friend you saw their boyfriend cheating on them. All different things can factor our choices, but the choice is ours to make. And the choice will result in some form of change, whether we like it or not. But again, ultimately, if you do not make a choice, if you stay in the harbor, you will be safe, but you will not be doing what you're meant to do. You will not be out there fishing or discovering a new sea creature or riding the storm and stumbling upon a sinking boat and help save people. Or you get capsized. Hang on to a buoy, like that girl from that Zac Efron movie that I can't remember the name of, and be found. A harbor is safe. Staying where I'm at in my little apartment with my cats and not going back to school and working the job that makes me feel soulless is safe. But it sounds miserable because I'm not doing what I'm meant to do. What it is I'm meant to do, no idea. No idea. But I apply to programs, and if I get rejected from all of them, I know that at this point in time, going back to school is not the option. Let's go back to the drawing board. Try to find a different job. I get into the programs, and one of them I can afford, and I have to move. Oh no. Whatever will I do? I move. I'll figure it out. You will figure it out. You will be changed. And that is the whole point of it all. We get to be on this floating rock that is microscopic compared to the rest of space. And we are here to just exist in the short time we get. Be changed. We already change physically from when we're born. We change mentally, as our brain develops, and we go through different life things as a child that affects how we are as adults. We go through emotional changes. Once you hit puberty, you unlock a whole new level of emotions you didn't know were possible. If you're like me, you go to college and find out that, the sads are not supposed to be this sad. That's the whole point of growing up, is to go through these changes. But again, if I never left the small town I grew up in to go to college out of state, I would have likely found out that I was bipolar eventually. But I wouldn't have made such incredible friends that I, to this day, still talk to almost every day. That I go and visit, that come and visit me. I wouldn't have had foundational experiences that taught me I should not be studying linguistics. I wouldn't have learned that I am not destined to be a sandwich artist in my free time. I wouldn't have had a newfound love for dancing. I wouldn't have had to come home and have a mental breakdown and then be hospitalized and dropped out of college. But the lessons I learned, the relationships I made, the experiences I had, I would never change. I am forever grateful that I didn't stay in the harbor, that I didn't stay docked. Life has been very difficult, and I acknowledge that. And there are choices I've made that have led to endings of things that break my heart that I don't really like to talk about. But ultimately, if I didn't make the choices and risk negative consequences, I would not be where I am right now. I might not even be alive. And I would not trade that for the world. Because sometimes there are amazing moments in life that make you feel like this is why it's worth living. You do an amazing hike. Your friend gets married. You make a really good cake. For me, it's every morning when I wake up and I see my kitties, my cats, all snuggled up with me. And I take a deep breath. And even though I am not excited to go to work, I am at peace knowing that I made a choice that led to a choice, and then this other choice, and another one after that got me to this point where I have a roof over my head, and I have 4 incredible cats in my care, as well as my brother's cat at the moment that I'm taking care of. And I have a fridge with food, and I get to do this podcast that makes me feel a lot better about my life. And I do get to go to work because I can get out of bed and I can get to work, and it's not terribly difficult for me to get there. And although I don't feel fulfilled by that job, I made the choice to apply for that job, and I made the choice to accept the offer. And I have learned that I am not meant to be working where I'm working, and that is the risk of making a choice. But ultimately, I still have things I can afford, and I still have amazing things that I do. So yeah, you're going to change. You will not be the same person forever. And you do not want to be. Although life is very cyclical, like I've been saying, you don't have to stay in that same cycle, and you shouldn't want to. It's okay to change. It's okay to try something new. It's okay to do something silly. It's okay to make a mistake. We're all doing it. And that's the whole point of life. So go out there and do something different. Make a new choice. Go right instead of left. Try a new restaurant. Buy a new furniture that you've been thinking about. Worst comes to worst, it ends up being bad and you learn never to do it again. Or try it again differently. That's a beautiful thing. That's an incredible thing. And that's something to be excited about. This week, I've decided to change in decorating for the holidays. I never really enjoyed holidays growing up as my childhood was really difficult. And since being an adult out on my own, I've never decorated where I lived for the holidays. So I decided this year that I'm going to let myself be excited to feel the childlike wonder in my heart about the holiday season. I made paper chains like I did when I was a kid, and I burned myself with a lot of hot glue because I ran out of staples. And I dehydrated some oranges, so I'm going to make some orange garland. And I'm just going to let myself be excited about the magic of holiday time. And worst comes to worst, I get let down. Or the alternative is that I have a wonderful couple of months, which is occurring during a time of year where I usually struggle really hard. And I will be changed by it. And I will enter the new year someone completely different than when I entered this year. And I can't wait. I hope that you are just as excited as I am, or you learn to be, or even something small occurs that makes you as excited as I am. You deserve to feel excited by life. Thank you so much for tuning in for this episode. I hope that it helped you in some way, shape, or form. This has been the second episode of my Dirty Laundry Diary, and my name is AB. I hope to see you next Sunday. And may this upcoming week be incredible for you. If not incredible, pretty okay. If not pretty okay, lackluster. If not lackluster, if it's horrible, dumpster fire. May something in the week occur that makes you feel a little bit better about it all. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.